We all seem to agree on one thing. Mike Wheeler is a bad leader. He controls 11,
What are you doing here?
Shopping.
yells at Phil,
It's not my fault you don't like girls.
and completely falls apart the moment he's taken out of Hawkins. But here is an uncomfortable question. Who decided he was the leader in the first place? Because if you look a little closer, Mike never really led people. He was just terrified of losing them. And that difference? Yeah, it matters.
A shadow grows on the wall behind you, swallowing you in darkness. It is almost here.
The first time we meet Mike, he's 12 years old. And the show makes a very clever move right away. Look closely. He's a dungeon master. He sets the rules. He knows what's going to happen next. And everyone gathers in his basement. Our brain, the part that craves hierarchy, immediately slaps a label on him. Aha, this must be our leader. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Being a dungeon master in D&D has nothing to do with leadership in real life. It's about control over the world that can hurt you. Because Mike's real world is, to put it mildly, unstable. His father is emotionally absent. His mother tries, but she's living in a state of chronic frustration herself. So Mike creates a place where no one disappears without a reason. Every event has a cause. Chaos follows rules. The basement doesn't become a headquarters. It becomes a shelter. And then the tragedy happens. Will disappears. A normal 12-year-old would go to the adults, cry, look for protection.
That is really unfair, son. We care.
Mike doesn't. He doesn't process the grief. He replaces it with diagrams and plans. In psychology, this is called intellectualization, when unbearable emotions like fear or grief are replaced with cold logic and structure. This isn't leadership. This is just trauma response of a child who grew up with emotionally unavailable parents.
Help! 11! Help! Help! Where are you? 11!
Season 2 exposes the root of the problem. Will is saved, but Mike's trauma isn't processed. It's preserved, and a new wound is added, the loss of 11.
Goodbye, Mike.
This is a season where we see all the traumas Mike will carry into adulthood. Namely, hyper-control. If I don't control everything, the world will collapse. Belief as denial. 11 can die because she has magic powers. Abandonment trauma. The people I love always disappear. Isolation. No one else cares, so I'll get through this alone. In psychoanalysis, this is called the return of the repressed. What we bury in our unconscious always comes back, but in a distorted form. For Mike, that symptom becomes his pathological control over Elle in season 3. He takes on the role of savior, guided by a simple principle. If she's next to me, she is safe. If someone else is next to her, control is slipping away.
Trying to demonstrate how careless Max is with 11's powers. In fact, how careless all of you are.
He's not just controlling Elle, he's controlling the probability of loss.
I can't lose you again. Can we please just come up with a new plan because I love her and I can't lose her again? I can't lose you.
And his friends? To Mike, they slowly become background characters in his main drama. That's why the confrontation with Will in the rain is so devastating. Will, alive, traumatized, still stuck in the past, suddenly demands to be seen. And Mike explodes. The cruel line about girls isn't just teenage meanness. It's psychological defense. Because if Mike acknowledges Will's pain, he'll have to admit that he was a bad friend. And that's too dangerous for his fragile construct. I'm in control of everything. From the outside, it's a typical teenage fight. But for Mike's story, it's a death sentence for his so-called leadership. Because a leader can make mistakes and still stay connected. In that moment, Mike doesn't choose connection. He chooses self-preservation.
Don't stop. Okay, you're the heart. Okay, remember that. You're the heart.
Season 4 is a time of existential paralysis. Torn out of the Hawkins ecosystem, Mike is no longer a leader. He's an outsider. Someone who can support own friends and his girlfriend. He's still ready to jump off a cliff for the ones he loves, but he can't give them what they truly need. The feeling of being wanted.
I care for you so much.
Care. But you don't love me anymore?
Because for Mike, simple words like I love you are never just words. They are a sacred vow, a lifelong contract for total protection, a contract he now believes he can't fulfill. The entire savior structure collapses, and in its place comes a series of questions directed at himself. If Elle is a superhero and I'm just a regular nerd, what if she realizes I'm nothing? What if she doesn't need me anymore because I can't protect her? What if I tell her I love her but she disappears again?
And one day she's gonna realize that I'm just some random nerd that got lucky that Superman landed on his doorstep.
Mike isn't leading the group anymore. He's lost himself. Now it's not him helping Will, but Will trying to inspire Mike, convincing him that he is the heart of the group. And that's where the truth lies. His monologue to Elle at the end of the season is not a grand heroic speech. It's a quiet surrender of the old version of himself, the one that always wanted to control everything. He doesn't say, I'm strong, I'll save you. Under pressure, he finally admits his deepest fear, his deepest truth.
I am scared that one day you'll realize you don't need me anymore. And I thought that if I said how I felt, it would somehow make that day hurt more. But the truth is, Elle, I don't know how to live without you.
In that moment, he finally abandons the impossible role of the savior and embraces the role of the heart of the group.
Mike, this isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending.
In season 5, Mike's character reaches its final form, and the audience tends to split into two camps. One side sees the return of the leader. The other sees an emotionally closed-off shell. The truth is, both are projections. We want to see a leader because it's the label we are used to. A comfortable narrative, a familiar one, and yes, Mike still bottles up his pain. That old coping mechanism didn't vanish. It was only reinforced by trauma. But he's not leading anyone from the front anymore. He has chosen a different position, inside the team, not above it. His evolution isn't about command. It's about becoming an emotional anchor, the heart of the group. And this role grows more profound than any title. It's Mike who helps Holly believe in herself, giving her a figurine, a tangible symbol of her own inner strength. It's Mike who imagines a perfect future for Elle, the place with 3 waterfalls, giving her something to fight for. It's Mike who is the first to call Will a sorcerer, without a hint of a doubt. But the most telling scenes are the quietest ones. The scenes with his mother. Twice he comforts her, not as a child seeking reassurance, not as a soldier, not as a strategist, but just as an adult. Someone who can hold another person's fear without collapsing under its weight.
We're gonna bring her back to you, Mom. I promise. Okay? Yeah?
This is emotional maturity forged in crisis. And the show gives us the perfect metaphor for who he has become. A writer. A writer doesn't lead an army. They inspire, analyze, and create narratives. He crafts the essential beautiful illusion of a future where Eleven is still alive. He holds hope for others when they can't hold it for themselves.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
And so his tragic flaw, this last scar of that traumatized 12-year-old, is this. Mike Wheeler has learned how to be strong for everyone. He still hasn't learned how to be weak for himself. So, was Mike Wheeler poorly written?
No.
This isn't a failure. It's a brilliant deconstruction of the teen leader trope. Because his leadership was never a strength, it was a symptom of anxiety, a response to a world where we had to grow up too fast. Did he have the potential? Absolutely. Intelligence, initiative, a willingness to sacrifice himself for others. But he lacked the crucial things: flexibility, empathy under stress, and a healthy sense of self-worth outside the role of savior. Sadly, the unprocessed trauma and forced adulthood never gave him the chance to develop these qualities. Mike Wheeler isn't a failed leader. He's a teenager carrying a weight that would be unbearable even for adults. And perhaps his story is a harsh but honest mirror for anyone who's ever tried to buy a sense of security at the price of total control. For anyone who confused responsibility with obsession, who feared their love wouldn't be enough if they stopped trying to earn it through heroic deeds. So what do you think? Did you believe in Mike as a leader? Or was his real strength always something else? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe for more videos like that in the future.